Hi, and welcome to this Weekday Word. In our New Testament passage today, we find Paul writing to the Christians in Colossae, and in the first chapter, he talks about his prayer for them. He says this: "We have not ceased to pray for you, asking that you may be filled with the knowledge of his will, in all spiritual wisdom and understanding, so as to walk in a manner worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing to him." This past Sunday, my sermon was based out of the first chapter of Romans, where Paul is talking about the other side of humanity. And he says that a sign of our disorderedness and our violation of how God created us is to be found in the fact that we suppress the knowledge of God's truth. And as a result of that, our minds and our hearts become darkened, and we live in a way that is not fitting before the Lord. Here is the positive side of all that. If suppressing the truth leads to a darkened heart and a darkened mind, then coming into the light of truth should enlighten the mind and enlighten the heart. And that's exactly what Paul's praying, that we grow and increase in our knowledge and love of the Lord so as to walk in a manner worthy of the Lord. When we get our worship of the Lord right, it leads to living a life that is right. And by worship, I don't mean outward forms like our liturgy. This is not a call to perfect the way we do a Sunday morning. It's actually instead a call to get our hearts right. Worship is worthship. It's giving God the most importance in our lives, giving him glory. And when we acknowledge his glory and surrender and submit ourselves to him as creatures, willing to surrender and say that we need him, then our lives come into order. And so the more we grow in our knowledge and love of the Lord, the more it's going to show up in our lives. Conversely, where we see our lives not in line with God's truth, it means that somewhere in there, our worship, our love has gone wrong. And so this passage really is the positive side of what Romans is talking about as well, that we need to get our knowledge of the Lord right. And where do we do that? Well, we do it through Jesus and through his word. The more we know Scripture, the more we know Jesus, the more we know God, God's truth, God's light. And so the more we know and love and obey him, the more our lives are going to look like what they were always meant to be. So I pray today, friends, with Paul, that you increase in your knowledge and love of the Lord, so that you may live a life worthy of the Lord's calling upon you. Be blessed this day, and I look forward to seeing you soon.